All right, let's dive right into this explainer where we're going to decode the actual mechanics of habit formation based on the insights from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. We often spend our entire lives trying to build good habits, only to find that one single tiny mistake can unravel the whole shebang in a second. Why does this happen? Well, we usually assume that massive success requires massive action. But the material we're unpacking today reveals something quite different. The word atomic literally means something incredibly small, but it also means an unlimited source of energy. Today, we're going to look at how these tiny, seemingly insignificant routines can act as that boundless energy source to completely transform your life.
We've all heard that classic, kind of cliché interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or maybe, what do you want to be when you grow up? But diving into this material, I realize we might be asking the wrong question entirely. Instead of asking where you're going to be in 5 years, we really need to ask, what are you doing in the next 10 minutes? People who think in terms of their immediate next actions tend to be far more successful. Why? Because those immediate 10-minute choices are the actual building blocks that dictate your ultimate success. And just look at this staggering 3,600% figure. It's wild, right? But it perfectly illustrates the math behind small changes. If you assume you can just study for 6 hours a day and crack a massive exam in 2 years out of nowhere, you're setting yourself up for a real struggle. Consistency is almost impossible that way. But improving yourself by just 1% every single day, that results in a massive 3,600% growth by the end of a single year. Breaking down your syllabus, or literally any life goal, into tiny, daily, achievable parts is exactly what turns the impossible into the inevitable.
So here's our playbook for today's breakdown. We'll be hitting 1. The power of tiny changes, 2. Shifting your true identity, 3. The 4 stages of habits, 4. The 4 laws of change, 5. Breaking your bad habits, and finally 6. Sustaining habits for life.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the power of tiny changes. Small actions, massive impact over time. Think about it. Eating fast food for just one day doesn't instantly change your body, right? Just like hitting the gym once doesn't magically make you fit. It's practically invisible in the moment. But over months, the compounding results of these micro-actions are absolutely undeniable. When you look at an old photo, suddenly the impact of that daily fast food is glaringly obvious. Imagine one person who uses the internet every single day to research good, educational information, while another uses it purely for entertainment. Today, they just look like two people staring at a screen. But 5 years from now, the gap in their knowledge and success will be massive. Your bank balance is just a measure of your saving habits. Your weight is a measure of your eating habits. You get what you repeat.
Moving to Section 2, shifting your true identity. Focus on who you are, not what you get.
This concept exposes exactly why so many of us completely fail at maintaining our New Year's resolutions. We usually fail because we focus purely on the outcome, like, I want to lose weight or I want to read a book. The problem is, once you achieve it, or if it just takes too long, you get bored and quit. True transformation happens when you focus on changing your underlying identity to match the habits of the person you want to become. Instead of saying, I want to read, you say, I am a reader. It's a complete mindset shift. You make the change part of your identity and actually enjoy the process. If you want to become a reader, start by just reading short headlines, discuss them with friends, and let the habit of being an informed person naturally take over.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 4 stages of habits. The psychological loop of human behavior.
Every single habit, whether it's good or bad, follows this exact 4-step loop. First, the cue. You observe a signal, say seeing a poster for smoking. Second, the craving. That signal creates a desire or an itch. Third, the response. You take action, like actually lighting a cigarette. And fourth, the reward. Your brain receives a temporary feeling of satisfaction. The trap here is that bad habits often fill you with a quick burst of enthusiasm, but eventually they become the root of your suffering. Understanding this loop, that is your master key to hacking your own behavior.
All right, Section 4, the 4 laws of change. This is your actionable framework for building good habits. To successfully adopt any new good habit, you have to systematically target those 4 stages we just talked about. The first law, make it obvious. Often people don't lack motivation, they actually just lack clarity. You need to define exactly when and where you'll do the habit. The second law, make it attractive. Pair your habit with something you really enjoy. The third law, make it easy. Don't plan to do 100 push-ups on day 1. Plan to do 5. Make it so ridiculously easy you can't say no. And the fourth law, make it satisfying. Your brain needs to feel that taking this action was worth it, like physically seeing yourself get stronger or tracking your progress visually.
Expanding on that first law of making it obvious, you really have to recognize your environment as an invisible hand. We always think willpower is enough, But did you know your environment shapes your behavior far more than you realize? Surrounding yourself with the right people, the right books, and the right visual cues makes doing the right thing effortless. If you want to eat healthier, don't just rely on sheer willpower. Put a bowl of fruit right in the center of the table and hide the junk food in the very back of the pantry. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Let's look at Section 5, breaking your bad habits using the law of inversion.
Because let's be real, building good habits is only half the battle. What if you want to eliminate the destructive behaviors holding you back? To break a bad habit, you simply flip the playbook using the law of inversion. Instead of making the habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you ensure the bad habit becomes invisible, unattractive, difficult to execute, and completely unsatisfying. You're basically dismantling that forced-up loop from the inside out.
For example, think about your phone. If you want to stop wasting time doom scrolling, you make the habit invisible and difficult by deleting the social media apps entirely. By doing that, you're adding maximum friction to the task. If you see a trigger, like that smoking poster we mentioned earlier, don't just stare at it. Actively ignore it and change your environment. By removing the cues and making the action require way too much effort, your brain will naturally opt out of the bad habit. Because honestly, our brains always prefer the path of least resistance.
Finally, we reach Section 6, Sustaining Habits for Life, Advanced Techniques for Long-Term Consistency.
Starting a habit is one thing, but how do we make sure these routines last a lifetime? Well, procrastination is the ultimate enemy here. When you're struggling to make a habit easy, rely on the 2-minute rule. Beat your brain's natural tendency to overcomplicate things by simply committing to do the task for a mere 2 minutes. Don't set out to write a whole blog post, commit to just 2 minutes of typing. Don't set out to read a whole chapter, just read 1 page. By acting within that tiny 120-second window, you prevent your mind from wandering and you spark the momentum required to actually keep going.
Now here's kind of a surprising fact. The greatest threat to your success actually isn't failure, it's boredom. When a habit becomes routine, it gets boring, and we stop putting in effort. And that brings us to the Goldilocks law. Humans experience absolute peak motivation when working on tasks right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right.
To dodge this boredom and sustain your habits, you first have to align your tasks with your natural abilities. I mean, don't try to become a famous singer if you have zero interest in music, but if you love writing, push that talent. Constantly push slightly beyond your comfort zone. Also, track your habits visually. Make marks on a physical calendar. Visually seeing those wins keeps your satisfaction super high. And finally, share your goals with an accountability partner. Having someone in your corner who celebrates your wins keeps you right on track.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct challenge. We've seen how 1% improvements compound into massive, life-altering 3,600% results. We've seen how your environment and those 4 laws dictate your actions. So look at your own daily routine right now. Decide what single, tiny, 2-minute action you are going to change today. Don't wait for 5 years from now. What are you going to do in the next 10 minutes to start becoming the person you truly want to be? The choice, quite literally, is yours.